it's not necessarily gimmicky. It is hard to play. I've tried it a couple times, but I'm not a huge fan of warrior either. I'm more of like, I like mage, I like hunter, I like shaman even. Um,
Hmm.
but no, warrior, rogue, like the really heavy weapon classes have never been my kind of go-to deck. So I don't know. I might give patron a try, but it is tough to play. I don't know if I'd say it's harder than rogue though. I think patron is more
Ooh.
just like there's just so much math that you have to do so quickly because of all the animations that stack that I think
Yeah.
that's you have to think like a couple of turns ahead because you can't do all of that in like the whatever it is 75 seconds.
Yeah, it's definitely the key to playing that
Yeah.
deck is instead of on your opponent's turn, just sitting there, like, I don't know, whatever you do when your opponent's playing, whether you're just looking at your cards or fiddling around at the side of the map or spam clicking, the map and making the noises on the actions you can do on the map or like funneling over your cards. I think that's really good when you're playing patron to start doing math early because once you start doing math on your opponent's turn, it makes your turn a lot easier and that deck is much easier to play that way because a lot of it is about a time constraint.
Yeah, very, very true. So, have you had any chance? Like, I know this week's Brawl was basically just random decks. I was really, really surprised that I didn't like it very much. It's literally like random decks is something that Angry Chicken, like either Garrett and I or Dills and I, like we've been playing these kind of like best of seven type things on stream every weekend. Like random decks has been something that we've really been into just from kind of the get go, using like the autofill thing in Blizzard. So when I found out it was going to be random decks this week, I was like, oh my God, this brawl is going to be amazing. I'm going to have so much fun. I
Yeah.
hated it. Like, hated it. It was
I
the
know, I've been
absolute
hearing a lot
worst.
about. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that they hate this week a lot compared to like last week's, which was
Hmm.
probably the best one they ever did, right?
Yes, exactly.
The
Yeah.
Yeah, and personally, I'm just not a big fan of Brawl. I thought that it would be good for, you know, I thought it would be more competitive than it is
Mm.
when I first heard about it, and because I'm such a competitive player or a competitive person in general, I was looking forward to it, but I don't know. I just can't get into Brawl at all,
Yeah.
and I just can't find it. I guess it's more for like just fun and completing quests and stuff like that. But as far as just Brawl in general goes, I just really can't get into it for some reason. I think it's because of the lack of competitiveness, or maybe just I don't know. It just feels like super casual to me,
It
kind of
is.
like
Yeah.
casual playing, like when you play in the casual mode. You just kind of get like a random deck, you just like screw around with it. I guess
Hmm.
it's mainly for fun.
Yeah.
But they need to add like a tier system of rewards instead of just a pack. They need to try and find like if you win 10 games, you get, another pack or you get like 10 gold or a bonus 20 gold or something like that where they can add tier rewards so that they like what's the word?
Give you an
Um
incentive to keep playing.
yeah, incentivize playing. Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. I think they need to do that, which would make it a lot more interesting. Or maybe if you win like 100, you get a card back that's really hard to unlock, or something like that.
Hmm.
Just different ways to unlock things that, or get rewards that are harder that incentivize playing it and being creative with decks and stuff like that. That might not work competitively.
Yeah, no, I found the exact same thing, especially with this week's Brawl. Like, I played literally one game. I lost. It was not fun. I felt like I didn't have great cards, and my opponent didn't have great cards, and we were just kind of like, well, I have 3 mana this turn, so I'm gonna play this random card. And like, there was no synergy, there's no strategy, there's no nothing, and there never usually is in random decks. But for whatever reason, whatever like algorithm they had on the back end at Blizzard was just not as good as their
Yeah.
normal algorithm for auto completing decks. Like I don't know what they did, but for some reason it just and I felt like too whenever I've done random decks in the past, I've always played against like friends just for fun. But this time I just kind of picked a class, loaded straight in, and I can't even remember which one I picked. It might have been Warlock because I thought that way I would have card draw for sure. But anyways, I went in and I played my one game, and it was so frustrating because I felt like I was in a like quote unquote competitive environment. Like I'm playing against somebody that I don't know. My win is going to count because it's going to either get me my card pack or it's not going to get me my card pack. And my draws were terrible. My cards were terrible. And I was like, this is terrible. Table flip.
Rage mode.
Exactly.
Rage mode initiated.
Complete and utter rage. And I was just like, this week is stupid. I'm not doing it. I don't even care. I don't need a card pack.
Well, it is really good for quests, though.
It is. Assuming you win.
Yeah. And, like, it's a way to not mess up your ladder, right? If you're, like, focused on tryharding on ladder, you don't want to do your quests in casual mode, or you want to play just fun stuff to do your quests, then I think it's good for that, because a lot of the quests, you know, they don't work on ladder, or you just want to get them over with, and you can just play Brawl for quests. It's really awesome for that, I'll admit. Yeah. That's a really great part of it. But someone in chat said that why do they have to incentivize play? Why can't we just play video games for fun? And that's kind of what I mean by it's more casual. Like, it may fit your personality type, which is awesome for you, and those people who like Brawl like that, it's awesome for you guys. But for me, my personality, I'm super competitive. I want a reward for beating somebody else. I want to outsmart the other person. Like, that's what fuels me when I play video games, is the competitiveness to outsmart the other person or play better than somebody else just for that little time, or have them play better than me. That is what gets me really into a game. But that's why I think incentivizing play is good. But it's based on your personality type, really. What would you think? Would you like the incentivized play, or do you like that completely. It's just kind of relaxed?
For me, I'm much more of an achievement player. Like, if I know that playing and winning, say, 500 games is going to get me something special, then that's something I'm going to do. I'm not so much of a just, I can just play for fun for no reason. I need I love it when, like, things go off and you get, like, fireworks, or like, ta-da, you win.
Like the Master Skins and Heroes, right?
If I played Heroes, yes.
Well, if you play Heroes, if you play it long enough, you become a master at the character and you get a special skin for it.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you're not just playing it for kicks and giggles. You're trying to achieve something along the way while you're having fun. That's kind of my example.
Yeah, it's same thing as the Golden Heroes in Hearthstone, or, you know, special mounts in WoW. Like, there's so many examples of times when you're playing video games and you get something special for doing something special. Brawl, because there's only the one card pack reward, just doesn't really feel that special, you know?
Yeah. It's a good reward. I think they need to have a ladder system, a ladder reward system.
Yeah.
And a lot of complaints that I've been getting on my stream is, you know, Blizzard will release a card back and it's like, oh, there's another cool card back I'm never going to get because it doesn't fit my playstyle. Like, for example, I don't play StarCraft, but the StarCraft card back that's coming out is really cool. And maybe they could do it that way and put the card back in the Brawl system, so that maybe every once in a while you can get a card back you don't have a chance of getting or
that
don't
would be
own, or something
so
like
great.
that.
For like because I'm thinking, like, my mind immediately jumps to like the golden, like, China card back.
Yeah.
The one that, like, no one can get at all. Or, I mean, for a lot of people, the Tespa card back.
Yeah.
Everyone loves those card backs, but they're next to impossible to get. So that would be really, really cool if you could somehow earn that just randomly.
Just Brawl specific card packs, right?
Yeah.
Like, to show that you're a Brawl master, you win like 100 games of Brawl and you get the Brawl card back, or something like that, where
they'd have to do something for Arena too, then.
Special.
Because there's no card back for Arena. Too. Yeah. Really, everything is so tied to ladder right now in terms of, like, your card back incentives, except for what we're going to talk about in news in a second. But for the most part, everything is tied to ladder. There's nothing tied to the other game modes. So I don't know if that's something we're going to see, something that Blizzard's considering. I hope so, because I know that there's a lot of people who don't ladder, who just play Arena. So I'm not one of them. I'm terrible at Arena, but still, there are those people out there that don't do ladder and have these huge holes in their card back collection. So it would be really nice to see some incentives and some card backs for modes outside of our actual ladder system. So with that, actually, that's going to lead us really well into our news.
Good news, everyone!
So Blizzard has added a new card back. Starting July 16th, they introduced the Galaxy Gift Card back, along with 3 classic packs, which you get if you play Hearthstone on a Samsung Galaxy S6 phone. There's no regional restrictions to this card back, but you do have to actually play through, I believe, the tutorial on the phone in order to unlock the card back. So have you seen this card back yet, Karma?
I do, yeah. I have seen it, yep.
Isn't it so freaking sweet?
Yeah, I like it a lot. The brown, the blue really goes well together.
Yeah, the only thing is I'm, like, so disappointed because obviously I don't have one of these phones. I don't have access to one of these phones. And I'm just like, I'm looking at this card back. It looks so cool, and I have no way to get it. There was a way posted on Reddit that we're not really actually going to talk about on the show, but
oh really?
if you actually go to Reddit, there are some tips and tricks, we'll call them, to unlocking this card back, which I still haven't decided if I'm going to do or not. But yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about rewarding a card back for something so specific? Like, it's not even playing on Android. It's not even playing like on an iPhone. It's specifically this one model of this one phone. Does that like upset you at all? Because when I first read this, I was pissed. I'm such a card back completionist that I was just like, I was all kind of like wrapping my head around having to pay $90 to get all the different like hero skins and all their card backs. And it took me like 6 weeks to kind of wrap my head around the fact that I was probably just going to do that. And then they come out with this like, oh, spend $500 on a phone and you can have a card back. And I'm like, Blizzard.
You'll never have this one, Josh. Sorry.
I know.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, but I can see what they're trying to do, right? They're using this as a marketing tool to try and get people to buy the phone, but who's going to go out and buy a phone for a card back in Hearthstone, right?
Exactly.
It's kind of like they're saying, like Galaxy saying, okay, yeah, put the card back with us so that if someone's thinking about buying a new phone, maybe they really, really like Hearthstone, and maybe you'll get like that one person who really needs a new phone and is going to get a new phone. He's like, oh, I'm going to get the Galaxy because I can get the card back with it. So I can see where they're trying to do that there. It is a little frustrating for someone who wants to have all the card backs like ourselves, because of the inability to be able to get one unless you know somebody with the phone, or you have access of a way to get to the phone or something like that. But I don't know if I would say it makes me angry. I guess it's just, I can see where they're coming from. Like, it's from a marketing standpoint, right?
Oh, it's totally a marketing tool. It's just a little bit frustrating to incentivize something so specifically, you know, like to say like you have to have this one phone model to get this card back. Like, it has absolutely nothing to do, which I guess kind of, if you think about it, like you mentioned, the StarCraft card back heroes, like all the stuff that they've done that's kind of tied into other Blizzard games. Technically, they don't have anything to do with like Hearthstone itself and your skill at the game, but at least they're still tied to Blizzard properties. I don't know why, but it completely rubs me the wrong way. I feel like, I would much rather they had, brought it in for, even if it was just mobile platforms, if it was like play a game on a mobile platform, whether it's iPad, iPhone, Android, whatever, then here's your mobile card back. That would make me happy, because then, everybody who plays on a mobile device is included. And that's a much, much bigger audience than specifically people with an S6. So
yeah, it's disappointing, especially if you're someone who can't have access to that. I'm not familiar with what you were talking about on Reddit, but I've been away from the Reddit scene for a little bit. But it's a little frustrating if you don't have a way to get it. It's just, and not only that, if you do have a way to get it, you usually will have to go way out of your way to get it And I think people who are that dedicated to Hearthstone, deserve the card back anyway. So
Yeah. I just wish there was an easier way. An easier way that didn't feel like cheating, because that's basically like, I mean, they're not going to go after anybody who uses the trick that's on Reddit. It's just a card back. But at the same time, it feels like if I have to like go find somebody with the phone or go to a local, Bell store and say, hey, I'm totally going to buy this S6. I just want to see how well it plays Hearthstone. I feel like they're backdoor tricky ways. And I wish there was a more legit way that wasn't just straight up buying this freaking phone.
Yeah, more moral way.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, I want to take the high road and still get my card backs, but apparently I can't do that.
Don't forget about the 3 packs.
That's true.
Packs
yeah,
too, right?
Yeah, 3 classic card packs as well. Yeah,
3 packs. Yeah.
Yep.
You could hit the mother load on those.
Oh, that's true. They could be full of 5 golden legendaries.
Exactly.
Because that's how it works. You just have to ask nicely, and then you get packs full of legendaries.
Right.
Been doing it wrong this whole time.
How much is a pack? Like 99 cents it averages out to be, or?
I think obviously it depends on how many you buy at once, but I think if you buy 1 pack on its own, I think it's $1.99, but that might be Canadian pricing. Everything's more expensive up here now.
I thought 2 packs were $1.99.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe not. Maybe they're...
I don't know. I don't usually buy them in like the smaller denominations.
Right, I usually buy the big ones, yeah.
Yeah, because you get so many more packs for your money.
So then I'm trying to average it out. Like if you went to a store and sat in line and then downloaded the app and then tested out, then went into Hearthstone, got your card back, that'd probably take you about an hour, maybe? So
Yeah.
You're getting like less than minimum wage to do this? I don't know. Yeah, it saves you like, you get the card back plus like $3 from Blizzard. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can average it out. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth the hour worth of work to get it.
I
Who
don't
knows?
know. I don't know. Doesn't really feel like it. Also this week announced from Blizzard was a new teaser for, we're calling it the new expansion teaser, but I mean, really, we still don't know what this is. Our announcement is coming on Wednesday, July 22nd. It's getting really, really close. And so the most recent tease was posted on the official Hearthstone Twitter account this morning, and it said, no matter their differences, all champions pursue valor, glory, and most importantly, fun, with another page out of what looks like an old-timey book with a picture of someone who looks like a paladin. So we've seen a whole bunch of these different images that the Hearthstone Twitter account has been sending out there, teasing us with these champions. So, Karma, do you have any kind of like idea of what you think this might be?
Oh gosh, I get so worried about predicting things because if I'm wrong, I look like a tool. But I don't know.
All right, do you want me to go
To
first
me,
then? Do you want me to go?
No, I'll bite the bullet on this
All right.
one. To me, the last one they posted looks like a paladin skin.
It does.
Like it just looks like a replacement for what's his face, Uther, right?
Yeah.
That's his name.
Yeah.
It looks like a replacement for Uther, like another golden. Not to mention, if you look at it, it looks animated, and all the heroes have been animated, right? That they've
True.
released. The one that they're showing now, he looks like Uther kind of, but he's in like some sort of shiny blue thingy, and there's stuff flying by, and he's sparkly, and
He
golden,
looks a whole
so-
lot like his armor possibly came out of like Lich King. It reminds me a whole lot of Ulduar, that whole raid. There was a lot of like constellation type stuff. That's what it reminds me of, which would fit right in with the whole Argent tournament theme that everyone seems to
Okay.
think is going to be a thing.
See, I'm unfamiliar with WoW because I never played. I hopped on just a Hearthstone bandwagon. This is the first Blizzard game that I played. So I'm unfamiliar with exactly what you're talking about. But I'm inferring from the picture that I believe you are 100% spot on.
Oh, thank you.
It looks like a hero skin to me. And then they posted another one of a pirate guy, right?
Oh, I missed the pirate guy.
A week ago,
man.
they posted a pirate guy. They posted some other girl.
Oh, a week ago. Yeah. The girl that they posted looked kind of priesty, I think, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember. Actually, she kind of looked kind of paladin-y too.
I think that they're going to announce. Oh, anyway, I got distracted. I think that they're going to announce a set of an expansion, like cards, expansion pack, whatever. The one where you buy cards. I don't think they'll do an adventure again, just because of the pattern from the past year. It's been adventure pack
Expansion,
opening,
yeah.
adventure pack opening. So I think they're going to do the pack opening this time.
Yeah, no,
And
I
I
agree.
do think that
Yeah.
there's going to be a subset. I forget what they're called off the top of my head. Is it called tribes or something? I think it's called tribes. Like, you know that how they have Murlocs?
Oh, like the
That's a
dragons
tribe.
and the beasts and yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
So I think
actually
they're
what
gonna have a champion
Hearthstone.
tribe.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what what Hearthstone calls it, but I think that's the Magic equivalent. I think,
Ah, okay.
but same
So
difference.
I think maybe that might be what's coming. Or they're going to expand current tribes, like the pirates might be getting an expansion because of the pirate, or I think that there's going to be some sort of themed expansion that they're talking about. If it's just hero skins, I don't think I'm going to play this game anymore. Like, I'm probably going to uninstall if after all this time they're just going to release hero skins. Like, I love Blizzard, and they're awesome, and I love this game, and I really hope that they get some new cards going into this. But if they just release hero skins, I'm going to be so sad.
I don't think that we're going to see hero skins. I think we might see the rest of the set of hero skins, if not like at least the next 3. But I don't think that that's what they're talking about here. They've used the word champions in every single kind of like teaser that they've given us. So I feel like you might be onto something with your tribe idea, or in Magic there's oh shoot, what are they called? Commanders. And they're basically like a separate kind of like super card. And I don't play a lot of Magic, so really I kind of wish Garrett was here and not just in chicken form, but actually like here. But yeah, so I really think that we might be getting some sort of like super buffs your other dudes, has a crazy big special ability champion that kind of mirrors what Magic does with commanders. So I think that would be really cool. It would be a totally new kind of mechanic. But yeah, you might be right, because with goblins versus gnomes, we got the whole mech thing. So this might be champion, might be a tribe. We'll see.
And Paladin, to my knowledge, does not have a tribe, does it? Within itself? Nor
No.
does Druid.
Nope.
Druid kind of does with beasts, but not really. It has like 2 beast cards, right?
Yeah, they tried to make Beast work with Druid, and it just doesn't.
So maybe we'll see some class cards released for Paladin and Druid.
I
Is
think
Druid
we're
at all
gonna
related
see-
to Paladin and WoW?
No.
Or are they completely
They're
different?
pretty much completely different. Druids are very like they are spellcasters, they're nature focused. Paladins are like holy warriors.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've
Everyone's
got the
probably
whole
fail fishing me right now in their cars or something. Or like, Karma, please. Why do you even come on here?
How do
You're,
you
like,
not
wasting
know what
our
a paladin is?
No, I do, but I thought maybe because I thought that I was going to say the Paladin are the only class without tribes, and then Druid popped into my head. And Druid really
Rogue.
doesn't have many. either.
Rogue doesn't really have like really. You've got Hunter with beasts. Then I guess technically everyone has mechs. Everyone has Murlocs.
Yeah, I guess not everyone has them.
Yeah, it's just
I
because
guess
like
I-
Hunter Beast is so like in your face.
Right, exactly. I guess Hunter is the only one now that we think of it, right? Rogue has combo cards, but they're not a tribe or
Yeah. Oh, and everyone has dragons. Dragons is the other one.
All right, dragons too. Well, I'm gonna stick to my thing, and I'm gonna say I think champions are going to be some sort of like palace type, lich, whatever you said, type fighter guys that are like warriors that are all part of a tribe that will go to every class. And I think Paladin is definitely gonna. I mean, come on, that blue guy in his armor shining and stuff like that. That has to be a skin. That
You
to
think
me
so?
looks
You
like
think that-
Uther on crack, right? like visual crack. That is what Uther. That's what Uther looks like.
I don't know. Because at first I thought it was skins too. At first I thought it was skins, but then especially after seeing this guy who looks so paladin-y, and chat room has been telling us that yes, that is from Ulduar. It's the tier, I think, 8. I saw fly by tier 8 set. He's holding a legendary paladin weapon, so that dude apparently is a paladin. And then, like I said, there was the girl last week, and she looked pretty paladin-y, priesty, something like that. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe we're gonna see skins, but I feel like champions, they're not just skins. Champions have to be something else, because they teased the whole kind of like tournament thing, and you were a champion of, you know, like a certain race. So you were, you know, the champion of blood elves, humans, you know, whatever. So you were a champion in the Argent tournament, and I feel like that's where they're going, and it's going to be tied to some sort of either not necessarily new game mode, but maybe new game mechanic, or like you mentioned, a tribe. I think that's what we're looking at here.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I didn't even think of a tournament mode. That would be insane. People have been wanting that for a long time.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of people have been, and actually we have an email about it a little bit later on, but basically when you open the Hearthstone tube and it plays the music is from the Argent tournament, which was a raid in WoW, and a whole kind of area that was basically you would mount up and kind of do this jousty thingy against other champions. So it's all kind of following that Argent tournament theme. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this. I hope we get a tournament mode. I think everybody really hopes that we get a tournament mode.
That would be crazy.
But I'm not holding my breath. But I do think
you could like bet
it's
gold
expansion
or something like that. That would be pretty cool. Like you could bet gold in the tournament. Like you pay 50 gold to enter. And the winner gets like 500 gold or something like that.
That would be
like
amazing.
daily tournament modes or something. That would be pretty awesome if they were to do that. That would be pretty sweet.
I completely agree. So I don't know if you saw this, but there were also some leaked images that were posted over on Hearthpwn, and it showed a new Paladin card. I'm just going to open it up here because I've completely
leaked
forgotten.
Images, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah, leaked or, yeah, it's, you never know what's legit, what's not.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah. So there was a new Paladin card called Four Dragon Blades. So I'm trying to remember exactly who it is, but I think his name is Bolvar Four Dragon, and I think that he takes over the role of the Lich King at the end of Wrath. I might be getting my people mixed up, but anyways, I do remember a Four Dragon in Warcraft. So it's a 7-mana card, but you can't actually see the card. It's just in a deck list. So we can't even tell, because you can't see if there's more than one in the deck list or anything like that. So we don't know if it's legendary or if it's, you know, just a class card or something. But so there was that leak, the new Paladin card, and then also a new neutral legendary, 6 mana, 6/7. So same stats as Boulderfist Ogre. But when you play it, it has Divine Shield, and then it says at the start of your turn, gain Divine Shield. So basically, every time you attack and lose Divine Shield, if it's still alive by the time it comes back around to your turn again, it's going to get that Divine Shield back, which is just...
So that basically means that if it lives, if it lives one turn, it'll consistently get Divine Shield until they kill it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
If you have it on your turn, it lives, then you get back, it gets Divine Shield, it'll automatically come back again. Yeah. Oh, wait. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. Never mind. Completely. Can you cut that out? I just completely blanked on that. That is
That's okay. I pretty much missed what you said because I was just like, oh, Carmen knows what she's talking about. I'm just going to sit here and say, yep, because I'm putting links in the chat room, and I'm just like, yeah.
Delete the audio, please.
Oh, man. Chat room is saying that, yes, Bolvar Four Dragon is the guy that I'm thinking of, and he takes over for the Lich King. He's already a card in Hearthstone. The new card is Four Dragon Blades, so it looks like that might be a new Paladin weapon. But, I mean, like, 7 mana, that's got to be a freaking awesome weapon.
Or removal, maybe.
Yeah, or removal. Yeah, possibly. Oh my god, like Bouncing Blades?
Or,
but,
like
good?
Strike for Paladin or something like that, where it, like, shoots. Or it could be maybe, like, a Blade Flurry? I don't know.
Yeah. Fan of Knives kind of thing.
Yeah. It also looks like there's a 5-mana card here in the snapshot at the very bottom. If you click the Imgur link, it looks like a 5-mana card with 7 health. Looks like a legendary as well.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but a 7 mana health 5-drop, sign me up. I'll- if that's more than 3 attack, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like 4 or above, that's pretty awesome. As far as the 6 mana legendary, how do you feel about that with the Divine Shield?
Well, I mean, like it's always key, right? If it lives. First of all, it's 6 attack. It's not 7, so that's a good thing. It's not BGH material.
Yeah.
The regenerating Divine Shield. I mean, Boulder Fist Ogre is such a solid card, especially in Arena. It's got good stats. Like, you've got that 1 extra point of health, and I don't know. This feels like pretty powerful if you can keep it alive.
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard for me whenever I see cards to just judge it immediately. Like, some people have that knack where they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome right away.
Yeah, it's so hard when you don't actually play with
When
it.
you don't see it with all the
Yeah.
other things that are going to be released at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this card looks good right now if you were to just throw it in. It's hard to fit in a 6-drop right now, though, honestly,
Yeah.
because turn 6 is so late for control. It doesn't have taunt, and it's just a 6/6/7. So right now, I feel like the meta is so aggro, at least on NA, that having a 6-drop other than Thracian is going to be tough unless you're running something super control-y, which is really hard to run right now because of the meta, right? I'm also looking at another card. It says Aura Mastery. It's a 3-drop for Paladin. That's another new card. I don't know what that is. At least in the
Oh,
screenshot.
yeah, that's true.
It's called Aura Mastery. I don't know. It looks like a healer card.
Yeah.
But I can't tell. Like, I hope one day there's better anti-aggro cards, just because they tried with Explosive Sheep, right? And nobody runs that card. At least not much. It's seen in Freeze Mage a little bit. But I feel like the most anti-aggro things are Death Rattles that deal board damage. And I hope that they come up with some sort of heal for decks that also deals damage to the board when you heal yourself. I think that would be pretty awesome, but that might be a little overpowered because I'm a little biased as a control player. But
No more aggro.
I would like to see some more anti-aggro, as well as, I mean, also a buff to aggro, right? You can't just buff control and not buff aggro, but I would like to see a little bit more anti-aggro if they're releasing some new cards.
And I think we probably will, because we did see a lot of tools come out that were kind of anti-Death Rattle after, because Nax came out and it was just like Death Rattle all the things. And then, and GVG came out and it was kind of like, no more Death Rattle. You know, there were all these cards that just like punished boards full of Death Rattle. They weren't really powerful enough because not a lot of them continued to get play. But I forgot about most of them because I ended up going in and doing heroic Nax, and then having the GVG cards that punish Death Rattle so hard in heroic Nax was like, made it so much easier. I almost felt like I was cheating.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I think we'll probably see something that will kind of counter what's been going on in the meta, I would think. What do you think, actually, while we're talking about countering things really, really quickly, Patron Warrior. Do you think that we're going to see any kind of change or nerf? I think the problem is Warsong. A lot of people say that there needs to be some changes to patrons or to potentially Frothing Berserker. But I think that the charge is the problem. I think it should say something along the lines of like, while your minion has 3 or less attack, it has charge, to kind of get rid of those big one-turn kills, because that's not fun for anybody. And I mean, when Miracle Rogue could do that, and what was the other big one? There was another big one-turn kill deck a while ago.
Molten Giant Warrior?
Yes, thank you, yeah. So, you know, those were things that got nerfed really hard pretty quickly because Blizzard doesn't want decks that are completely not interactive. And I mean, you can have a completely empty board and a warrior kill you in one turn without a problem. Like, Druid's a little bit different because, like, you know the combo, you know when it's coming, you know, like, if you leave minions on the board, you're probably going to die to combo. Plus, you know, like, if you're, even with an empty board, you have to stay above 14. Like, it's a lot easier to kind of play around and counter and know when it's coming. versus
Right.
like, you know, like warrior, just like there can be absolutely nothing on the board. And even if you have stuff on the board, like if you have a taunt or something, that can actually work against you because you're just buffing the berserkers even further. So,
Right.
you know, like even having stuff on your board isn't good. There's no way really to play around patrons in that way once you get to the late game. So do you think we're going to see a nerf to that? And if we are, what do you think that might be?
I do hope there's a nerf. I don't want it to be killer like it was to Starving Buzzard or to Miracle Rogue, because I think the decks that take, like, I don't want to say skill, the Hearthstone skill to play, like,
Air quotes.
it's hard to explain. Yeah, I'm doing air quotes right now for the listeners. It's like Patron takes a lot of skill to play, right? Because there's a lot of math, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of knowing when to use your removal, when to start bursting your opponent down, when it's okay to use your combo pieces to stay alive, that type of thing. And I think it takes a lot of skill, air quotes, to play that deck. And it would be sad to me to see that card completely, or that deck completely taken out, because it's influenced the meta so much. However,
Very true.
I do want to see it nerfed a little bit, because I think the ability to do 50 plus damage in one turn is just too much. It's worse than Miracle Rogue, because I think Miracle Rogue's max... What was Miracle Rogue's max damage? Like 32, 34, something like that?
Yeah, it was like just over. Just
over
30,
30, right?
Yeah.
With one prep, I think. If you had two preps, might be like closer to 35 or 40. But anyway, I just don't think that you should take a skill deck and completely remove it. I would like to see them reduce it a little bit. And I thought before that it was Battle Rage because of the ability to cycle a card just from having damage minions is what keeps Patron going. And after thinking about it, I'm not quite sure. I think Frothing is the problem, because I don't think Patron needs to be nerfed at all, because it costs 8 mana to get Patrons down, or turn 7 after an Emperor, and I think that should be fine. And if Patron is going to burst you from turn 10, I don't think Patron is as much of a problem, because there's a limit. There's only 7 of them, right? So it can't get completely out of control. I think Patrons it's a unique card that I think should stay in the game. It's something that is really cool and I think should stay. But I think the problem is either with Battle Rage or Frothing. I could see Warsong, but if you take Warsong and make it a little different, I guess it would work. But I think it needs to have charge to the Patron, because that's Warrior's only board clear other than Brawl. And the only way that they have a mid-range deck is being able to keep the Patrons around.
Yeah, no,
So
I
I'd hate
agree.
to
I
see that
think
taken
no,
away.
I don't think that they need to change Warsong so that it affects patrons. It's just the really big problem is that when you play the Berserker and it gains charge and then it gets up to, you know, 25, 30, whatever attack,
course.
and then that's when you know, swing in for the crazy big damage. So
Right.
if the text on the Warsong was just changed to say while your minions are below 3 attack, they have charge, then, you know, a 2 or 3 attack Berserker would be fine. But as soon as it hits 4 attack, it can't charge anymore. So,
Right. Well,
yeah.
I think that would completely take away the deck, just because then you can't inner rage your patrons anymore. And if you
True.
if you don't have inner rage on your patrons while they have charge, it's really hard for you to get full use out of them. Mm-hmm. And it would only work against small creatures, which would make control really, really strong. Because then they can't get the patron combo off, they no longer can Frothing Berserker, and the deck is dead, right? Mm-hmm. So I think if they nerf Warsong, then that deck, just kiss it goodbye, because then you also can't do the inner Raging Worgen, which I think if they nerf Battle Rage, that Raging Worgen could take the place of Frothing Berserker, because of just it requiring less cards to do so. Or if not Battle Rage, if they nerf Frothing Berserker, they could put Raging Worgen in instead, like make Frothing 5 mana or something like that. So that if an Emperor goes off, then you can only play 1 instead of 2 per turn, because 1 per turn isn't really the problem. I think it's the double frothing, right?
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
But I think if you make Battle Rage 3 mana and then you can't draw it off of your face, you know what I mean? Like if your face is injured, you don't get the card cycle. It has to be only minions. I think that would affect it a lot because it reduces Warrior's ability to cycle like multiple cards at a time. Where like sometimes as a patron you're sitting there and you have nothing, like double Battle Rage, and you're kind of just like, crap, what do I do? And then you crap out like Armorsmith, Acolyte, Inner Rage, Whirlwind, and you draw like 10 cards at once. I think if you reduce Battle Rage, it would reduce the amount that a warrior could draw, and I think that that would help it a little bit. But it's hard for me to say without testing it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think just nerfing maybe Battle Rage would help it a little bit. But you would still be viable to that frothing combo. But I think it would happen less frequently because the amount of cards you're having in your hand is just reduced by a lot by increasing Battle Rage that much.
Fair enough. Yeah, that all makes sense. Battle Rage sometimes is just ridiculous.
Yeah, Battle Rage allows that deck to just cycle through everything.
Yeah.
You can be completely dead, and then you just cycle that one card off of your face, and boom, you hit the Whirlwind. Then you Whirlwind your 3 minions, and you draw 4, and then it becomes, it's like, how am I going to win? The guy is comboing everything he has. He's drawing 4 cards off a 2-mana card. He's cycling everything. I mean, patrons can outdraw you by 15 or like 10 to 15 cards in some games. And I think that the cycle is really the problem because then it allows you to get the frothings in your hand so frequently and so easily that it makes that deck ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Because everyone else has problems getting their combo pieces, but with the warrior,
exactly.
It's kind of just
so if
like,
you take away the ability to get the combo pieces, but still allow the combo pieces to be in the game, I think that it wouldn't take the deck away completely, but it would also maybe nerf it just enough so that it's not insane, but still has the potential to be good.
Yeah, because I think it's been at the top of Tempo Storm's meta report for the last, I want to say 2, if not 3 months. Like, it's been so long that this deck has just been dominating. And yes, it is difficult to play, but at the same time, like, when you've got pretty much all the pro players can do a pretty good job of it. It gets taken to every tournament. Everyone's playing it on ladder. Like, it's everywhere. It's ridiculously powerful. And even though I would struggle with it, if the pros aren't struggling so much, then it's too powerful, I think. I think it needs something. Needs something.
The deck is ridiculous.
Yeah,
the deck has no counters. Like, I was talking to a bunch of people this week, and we were arguing whether or not even Handlock is favorite if you took a pro versus another pro.
Yeah.
I think, like, it would go 50-50. One would rather be the patron, the other would rather be the Handlock, and I think it's split evenly. I think in a pro's hands, it's too good because everyone has to play it. And I think that Hearthstone really wants to have some diversity in their tournament scene. And I think that adding, nerfing it a little bit and adding some new cards will really help it. Instead of just seeing Frothing, Hunter, Aggro Pally in like all the tournaments. Every tournament is like Frothing, Hunter, Aggro Pally.
Yeah.
Or I mean Patron, Aggro Paladin, Hunter, or Patron Hunter, and then there's like Rogue or something like that. They really need to start having some other things in the tournament scene, and I think that nerfing Patron just a little bit, don't get rid of it completely, just take it down a notch from the
take it
OP
down a peg.
Yeah. I do think that it is ridiculous though. That deck has like no direct counters. It's just so good.
Yeah. We talked about some of the ways you can try to play against it a couple of episodes ago. I can't remember exactly which episode number it was, but and there's not many. Basically, it's like hold on to your removal that does 3 damage or more and pray that they don't get berserkers. Like
they should make like a Lotheb patron version where it's like a 5-drop 5/5 that makes creatures with charge unable to attack or something like that.
That would be so cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
I can't wait to see what we're going to get in this new expansion or whatever we're going to see announced on Wednesday. So I think we got so many emails this week asking questions from Reddit, from emails about just people want to know what you think, Karma. So I think we're gonna just jump. We're gonna jump right in here to our emails.
You want me to? Oh.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
Brother.
Hello.
Whoops. Totally almost played it twice, but it's all good. So,
You want to take this first one?
yeah, you guys can send your emails over to tacpodcast@gmail.com if you have a question to send us for next week. But yes, Karma, please take the first email.
Have I mentioned you're doing a fabulous job hosting?
Thank you. I really messed
Anyway.
it up off the top, but thank you.
No, you're doing great. Anyway, Aaron writes in, he says, Cluck. Greetings, Jocelyn and Karma. With a new expansion likely unveiled in a couple of days, what kind of changes and additions do you want to see, both in terms of balance or more fun things? I'd like to see a few more ways to fight against aggro, as you discussed in the last episode, but also more tribal cards to make mech decks more viable and dragon decks even remotely competitive. What do you think? Thanks for an awesome show, and keep it up. All right, so did he already listen to our show? Like, this guy
I was gonna
is
say.
talking about things that we have just talked about throughout the whole show. So he must
I
be
know.
pretty happy.
As I was
Um,
like listening to you read this, I was like, oh my God, I should have paid more attention to the emails that I threw in here because we totally talked about all of this already.
I would like to see more fun things as a person who watches tournaments. As far as somebody who competes in tournaments, I would just like to see more balanced cards. Like, when you're watching a tournament, what makes it fun for you? Just is it the RNG that brings out like crazy? Oh my God, I can't believe he drew it. Is it the top
I think
decks,
that's
which
what
I
it
would
is.
also equate to RNG? Or
Yeah, that's
is
it's
it
all
the way
kind of RNG.
people are playing?
It's the way that people react to the stupid, crazy plays. Like, when the Doomsayer pops out and no one's expecting it, and then they're like, oh my God, this totally completely changes how I have to play this now. And usually it's, because they're pro players, they're just like instant strategy change and they see all these things going on and they're just like, okay, now I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. It's like they know every single thing that could come out of the shredder and then what they're going to do if that thing comes out of the shredder. And I'm just like, that kind of skill is so beyond me that I love watching that and seeing their reactions and just like, sometimes, you get your crackle for one short of what you need and just like the drama and the emotion in the players' faces are just like, God damn it, no, crackle.
So basically that boils down to RNG for you, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's like what comes out of the shredder, or, someone just mentioned in chat that Unstable Portal is probably like the most fun card to watch in a tournament, right?
Yeah.
The guy throws it out, and it's either a godly Unstable Portal where he gets like Tyrion or Kel'Thuzad for like 5 mana, or it's an angry chicken. Right?
Yeah.
Which isn't so bad, but.
Oh no, the angry chicken is terrible. Oh
In
God,
terms
somebody's
of
gonna cat
cards.
me saying that.
Yeah, we need to get Garrett in here so we can get a repeat on that. It could be a quote. But as far as like a viewer's point of view, I think that I would be excited to see more RNG into the game, where it's like in tournaments where it's more fun, like things are unexpected and people have to change their strategy.
Yeah.
But as far as my player point of view, I do not want to see that.
I
do
was
not
gonna
want
say,
more
I can just
RNG.
see, like, when you're saying you want more RNG, I can see, like, all pro players, like, chat, just everybody being like, no more RNG, please. Yeah, see, chat's just
Exactly.
catching up.
Yeah, they're like, I do not want to see that. Like,
No.
I do not need something that'll make me more salty in this game than I
Yeah.
already am. But they are fun. Like, I have to admit, watching Unstable Portal is so fun, but when it gets done against you, it's like table flip. Like, my room turns into a complete mess. Like, there's stuff all over the floor because of, like, the guy will always Unstable Portal, like, Emperor or something crazy, high main, like a 2-mana high main or something like that. But those are the things that make tournaments fun to watch, like the unexpected, things off of the RNG component. So I would like to hopefully see some of that, but at the same time, I also do not want to see any of that. So I have like mixed emotions.
Well, it's
So
true
I
because
think that fun things and balance, a mix of both, is
Yeah.
what I would like to see them put in.
Hearthstone is in this really interesting place compared to other competitive games because you have so much time to sit and think about what you're going to do. It's not necessarily easier to strategize because there's so many different board states and so many different interactions, but at the same time, you're missing that kind of like twitch that you have to have if you're playing like League or Dota or StarCraft. You know, like you don't have to have crazy APM. You don't have to be all over the place. Like you have a board, you can learn the cards, you have, you know, your 75 seconds to take your turn, and it takes that twitchiness out of it. So the RNG is kind of what gives it that competitive edge and that fun, because then you have to, that's what you have to react quickly to. It's not that you have to move the cards quickly, but you have to be able to think quickly in order to react to the RNG. So I agree. I think that maybe a little balanced RNG is a really good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah. Something that kind of makes people have to think twice and kind of gives us some new scenarios, some new board states, some new situations, new things to deal with, really. That's the kind of stuff I think we're looking for.
And I also agree with Aaron. He said that he would like to see a few more things to fight against aggro. I hope that they add both aggro and control. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased. I hope they add a little more things to fight against aggro and make dragon decks more viable. I think dragon decks are viable. It's just what you consider fun dragon decks, because Mallylock's pretty good. Dragon Rogue is okay right now. I know a few people who are top 50 with Dragon Rogue, and there's also Dragon Warrior, which is really good. So there are a few dragon decks that are viable. I'm just not sure what he means. Maybe he means like super dragons, like everything's dragons, like you have all the dragons in your deck.
I think basically when people say dragon decks, what they're looking for, because I agree, like I think the Mallylock is so much fun to play. That's probably my favorite dragon deck out of all of them. But I think what they're looking for in a dragon deck, a really competitive just dragon deck, would be something more along the lines of like Mech Mage, where, you know, you've got like probably half of your deck is made up of whatever the thing is, and you're basically just constantly playing that over and over and over again. So they want to see something where dragons are viable to play on every single turn. Like they just want a deck full of their kind of removal spells and dragons, and that's it. Which right now we don't really have that. You know, you've kind of got to build up because most of our dragons are so powerful. And the cards they've built around the dragons that interact, like if you have a dragon in your hand, it does something. Those aren't actually dragon cards. They synergize with dragons, but most of the time they're not actually dragons. So I think more dragons, more low-cost dragons, more neutral dragons would do for dragons what GVG did for mechs. And that would be really cool to see. I don't know if we will. There were dragons in Lich King. There was that whole Dragon Blight, Wyrmrest Temple. Yeah, that was all dragons. So there was like a whole zone in Lich King that was dragons. So it'd be interesting to see if we see more dragons, but
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I
would like to see more tribal cards. I completely agree on that.
Yeah.
I wish that there would be viable builds for all the tribal cards. I wish that Murloc could get a little bit of a boost. I would like to see pirates get a boost. Beasts to get a boost. I'd like to see all the tribal cards just get a little bit of a boost, because I think that Hearthstone is missing that like viable anything goes type of deck where you can kind of build your own. Like the metas kind of always gets to a point in this game where, you know, there are certain decks that are designed perfectly to where those are the decks that everybody plays because they're so well designed that it counters the other things, you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Like the tier list, right? So there's decks that are sculpted perfectly for the meta, and I would like to see them add tribal cards just so that if you don't feel like running those cookie cutter decks, that you could, you know, run tribal decks that are fun to play, like pirates and
I was gonna say, yeah,
we
forgot pirates completely. Pirates are also a thing.
Yeah, pirates need
need some
I've tried
serious pirate
decks,
cards.
and it's so hard, let me tell you.
And maybe we're going to see more pirates because we did have that pirate tease last week. So maybe that's a hint.
That pirate is coming for sure. It's just what kind. Like, is he going to be a champion pirate or is he going to be a pirate? Hopefully he's a pirate. But to add to your dragon thing, before I forget, I think all dragon needs is a taunt. Just like a 6-mana taunt dragon card. Or a like heal dragon card. Something that can allow your dragons to get late game, because like 50% of the dragons are 8 drops or higher.
Yes.
So they need something in the middle that can allow them to get to that turn 8, like a taunt or a big dragon taunt, like a Ancient of War, but dragon style, a little less powerful. You know what I mean? Like that big taunt that can prevent you get from getting wrecked before turn 8, so that you can get Chromagus down and stuff like that.
Yeah, something maybe like Twilight Drake, but with taunt. So like gains health in some way, in some super big kind of, can hit that big number, like 10, 12 health, that also has taunt, but it's dependent on something like how many minions you have on the board, or how many minions there are on the board total, or how many cards are in your hand, or how many cards are in your... Well, I really don't like the how many cards are in your opponent's hand thing, that Clockwork Giant. Bad idea.
I want to see like the opposite of Clockwork Giant. How little cards are in your opponent's hand, you get a giant that costs less.
Oh, that would be
really
cool. Because then you've got your aggro. Yeah, your hunters that have no cards left, and you're just like, boom, taunt.
So then you can play 4 giants when you're at 10 health instead of 0. It's like the Handlock's dream. When the Face Hunter has like a full board, you just drop all your giants and double taunt, and then just greet them, and then just watch them concede. It's like the dream.
That Karma BM though.
Oh yeah, get the sunglasses on. Pretty standard stuff.
Our next email comes to us. Actually, it was a post on Reddit. It's not really a question, but I did want to share the story with you guys because I read it and it just almost brought tears to my eyes. So,
oh boy.
This comes to us from Quiet Song. Well, not tears, but it made me happy. It's right in the feels. So this comes to us from Quiet Song. He said, I listened to the latest Tack with my 7-year-old on a ride to the doctor yesterday. He's a quiet dude. He has autism and speech apraxia. I think I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I'm really sorry. But he says, so speaking isn't exactly his thing, usually. When Garrett played Annoyatron for Jocelyn's birthday, my son, who I swore wasn't even paying attention, playing with his fingers and staring out the window, piped up, hello, hello, hello. Second Annoyatron drop, he echoes, hello! He's been running around all day pretending to be Annoyatron, laughing hysterically while I give him a jovial hello, hello, hello back. Hearthstone and Tack win. I know it was for Jocelyn, but the drops were totally a gift for me too. So thank you so much for sharing that story with us, Quiet Song, because that just... that made me so happy.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah, I really, really like that story.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it made me really happy. Do you want to take the next email, Karma?
Of course. Buckhead writes to us from Reddit, and he says, Blizzard's tease of an announcement coming on the July the 22nd may be news of an expansion based on the Argent tournament, or it might be an announcement about a new tournament mode. Why not both? If this is the case, would you be glad Blizzard waited to tie in the release of a tournament mode with an expansion? Would you be satisfied with this kind of thematic unity? Or would you rather they had released the tournament mode on its own without any addition bells and whistles, if that meant we could have received it earlier?
So this is why, because we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier about how we might get tournament mode based on the Argent tournament, all this kind of tournament buzz. But really, what I wanted to talk about and get your thoughts on is they seem to have held back on any kind of tournament mode because a lot of really competitive, serious, and pro players have been looking for a tournament mode for a really long time now. I'm definitely one of them because I like to organize tournaments. So any tools that they want to put in Hearthstone that's going to make my life easier, I am completely on board with. So in terms of a tournament mode, would you have rather they kind of bundled it with an expansion, took their time, kind of did the total Blizzard thing where they just make everything all perfect, or do you want it like sooner rather than later? Do you wish we had it months ago, if that is actually what's happening? if
they're bringing tournament mode on, then I don't care how they bring it on, as long as they bring it on, because I think that is awesome. The problem to me they're struggling with tournament mode is like the idea of trying to withhold all this information in their database. That is a lot a lot of information. They have to set up a computer system to record the wins and losses, and I think that it's just a lot of unknown problems that we probably can't think of that is just extremely difficult to bring together. Like, imagine all the information that goes into, like, they have to have sites just for the tournament mode, and then to put it into a game and have it record, I think it would be difficult. Maybe not. Maybe if there was some computer programmer on with us, he'd be like, nah, that's easy. But I think that it's really difficult for them, and if they're taking their time with it, great. As long as it gets here, I mean, I'm not going to complain. I don't mind that it's coming with expansion. I don't mind as long as they get it correct. I don't mind how long they take. It is a little unfortunate that they have taken such a long time. Maybe they don't plan on doing it, because if I'm Blizzard, right, if you're a Blizzard executive, why would you want to make a tournament mode if the tournament scene is doing so well on its own?
Mm-hmm.
Where people are hosting tournaments and paying for advertisements and setting up websites and growing your scene for you, then why would they make a tournament mode? I don't know. From a business standpoint, it's kind of hard to imagine them wanting to have a tournament mode in. Unless
it somehow becomes some big gold sink, like, you know, you pay 50 gold and there's 8 players, and then there's only 600 gold that goes out in a prize pool. So, you know, like 200 gold goes just as like a fee back to Blizzard or something, like if they feel that there's too much gold in the economy. But they've also kind of set a precedent with Warcraft. Because with Warcraft has a whole bunch of add-ons. So basically it's community-created content. And it allows you to do things in the game that you can't do with Blizzard's normal UI. And when something gets adopted by the community and becomes an add-on that pretty much everyone uses, then they often will incorporate that into the game somehow. So basically, when the community identifies something that's really important to them, to the point that they build their own tools, in Warcraft, at least, Blizzard has then said, okay, well, we're going to incorporate that and Blizzardify it and make it pretty and perfect. So they've kind of set that precedent. I know that, you know, obviously we don't have add-ons in Hearthstone. I would love to have add-ons in Hearthstone, but that's not the point. But we do have people creating tools outside of the game. We know that there's a lot of people running tournaments. They come in all shapes and sizes. You know, we've got everything from your, 8-player invite-only pro tournament all the way down to, hundreds of people signing up and doing this big, huge open qualifier. Like, there's just the whole spectrum of tournaments. So yeah. I think that we may see a tournament mode. I don't know if it's coming this time. I hope it is. I hope we get both. Like, I want to see some sort of really cool Argent tournament, maybe with mounts and champions and all this kind of cool stuff that they've kind of been teasing. But I want to see tournament mode tied into that.
Yeah, tournament mode would be great. I'm just a little skeptical.
I know.
Just because the business side of me is like, if everyone's growing it for you and you don't want gold into your own game because then it saves other people money, which they're paying for packs anyway. Like, I'm not on the side where I don't want tournament mode, but just from the perspective, like, if you're adding gold into the game, it just makes less money for you, right? So if you're not charging money to enter the tournament, you're going to end up losing money because more gold is going to circulate onto an account, which will have them
Well, no, but that's what I was saying.
Buy
like,
as much.
If you're entering a tournament and you're paying 50 gold and you have 8 players in that little tournament, then if the winner takes home like 600 gold, there's that extra 200 that goes into Blizzard's pocket. So it takes it out of the economy, essentially, is what I think that they should do if they think that gold is becoming an issue.
Right, but then the people who win won't have to spend money on packs anymore. So they would have to make it so that you could buy gold, right?
That one person out of the 7 then gets, like 6 free packs or whatever. But those other 7 people, they just lost 50 gold. So now they have to work harder to work their way back up to that 100 gold pack.
Right, but if you're talking about 1 out of 8, I mean, that's 15%. That's a lot of loss. I don't know. I hope.
I guess it depends, how many people are buying packs. And I guess, there's always a huge surge at the beginning of an expansion. So I would venture a guess that there's not very many people buying packs right now. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, it could be. It's interesting. I hope I hope tournament mode comes. I hope what you say is true. I'm just a little bit skeptical from my business side, but if they're taking their time, awesome. As long as they get it done, that would be so awesome. As a competitive player, I could not wait for tournament mode any longer. If they released it, I'd be on. It would just add a whole new competitive side to me because ladder is getting kind of daunting.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's been out for so long and the decks are so cookie cutter that you go like certain matchups and you're just playing the same decks over and over again against each other, the same matchups, and it's still fun, but it would be just nice to have another competitive side to the game where, oh, I can enter a tournament and win gold for my account and buy more packs and stuff like that. It would just be cool to have an in-game tournament mode that is much more casual than going on a website and signing up and checking in and going through like the hours of process that it takes to do a tournament, where it's much more casual, where you just pay 50 gold, you show up. It takes like maybe you do like best of ones or something like that, and you just kind of speed through. It takes you like an hour, and if you lose, then you just enter another one. Like
Yeah.
the tournaments right now that I enter or qualifiers or stuff like that take hours, so long. If I sign up for a tournament, it starts at 6 at night. If I make it to the finals or close to the finals, it's not done till like 2 or 3 in the morning. So the weekend tournaments are just so hard to commit to because that's such a chunk of time when weekends are the only time you have to do anything. To commit to a tournament that takes like 10 hours, it's just, it sometimes can be daunting,
So when
So
you're
it'd be nice
signing
to
up
have
for
a
those,
casual tournament.
I was
mode.
going to say, when you're signing up for those tournaments, like how many people are you playing with? Are you going into like 128-man tournaments? Like if they pared it down to like a max of 8 players and they were 8 random players and you just kind of went into a general tournament mode, would that kind of fix
8
the
players
problem?
would be
Like make it
ideal,
fast
I think.
enough? Yeah.
Yeah, because anything more than 8 would take a while. Like 16 people would take a little bit. Maybe
Well,
like
every
2
time you add-
hours for the 16 people, which is a long time to commit to a game.
It is.
Like
it really
a lot
is,
of people,
yeah.
like if you take a look at example, if you're basing it off other games that are becoming successful, like Rocket League, those games are real quick. Like
True.
you play it, boom, it's over in 10 minutes. You do
I love
another
that
one.
game.
Boom, it's over. You do 10 minutes, do another one. Oh, I do too. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I played this weekend. But like if they could figure out a tournament mode that takes like if you lose, boom, you just enter another one 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Or if you win in like half an hour to an hour, and you're just like, awesome, I won. You get the feeling of winning, and then I want to do that again. I have another hour to, screw around, or on your lunch break or something, you enter a tournament. But I think anything longer than an hour, they're going to struggle to get a huge population into. I think people will still play, but the average casual person will have a hard time devoting, I think, more than an hour to a tournament mode.
And that's been the, I don't necessarily want to say argument, but that's been what people have said about kind of defending why Blizzard went with Brawl over what a lot of more vocal players, more competitive players wanted, which is tournament mode, is, basically saying that tournaments take a lot of time. Tournaments are really competitive. There's more people who just want to sit down and not worry about building a deck and just play like 1 or 2 stupid for fun brawls and move on. So
Yeah.
that's definitely been the leading kind of theory of why Blizzard went with brawls over something like tournament mode. But
Could
I hope
be.
we get it.
Yeah.
Cross
It would
your
make a lot of sense.
fingers. Yeah.
It would be cool if they figured that out, though. I think that it would take definitely a long time, which is why maybe if it is coming out, why it is taking so long, because there are so many logistics to figure out. But if it does come out, it would be super awesome. And I can't wait till the 22nd. I'm excited.
I know.
This
I
is
wanna
getting
know
me
what
all
they're gonna
pumped
say.
up right now. Getting all jazzed up. I can't wait.
I can't wait to see that live stream. It's going to be so good. Our next
Okay.
email comes to us from Mark, and he says, well met. China recently hosted a women's-only tournament to which Karma was invited but did not compete. Is this a step in the right direction, i.e. showing the standard of play of women at the top of Hearthstone is the same as men and will hopefully lead to more inclusion in larger events? Or do you believe its existence implicitly suggests that women are inferior players and can only win in their own separate events? This question might be more pertinent if Eloise was not competing in Archon League, but I thought it would be something interesting to hear you two talk about in the upcoming show. When it comes to Hearthstone, or really any game, I am not a fan of any kind of segregation. I think gamers are gamers, players are players, and everyone should just compete. I don't see it the same as like normal sports because there's just not that physical barrier between men and women. There's no reason why, you know, Karma and I can't compete against like Savitz and Amaz. Like, well, I mean, other than the fact that they're super good and I am not there at that level, but that's not because I'm a woman. It's because I'm not as good at Hearthstone as they are. But, you know, there's no reason that I shouldn't be included in a tournament with them just solely based on the fact that I'm a chick.
I don't know. I kind of am with you, but at the same time, I kind of also think that it's a step in the right direction. For players like myself that are female who are trying to be taken more seriously and kind of on the cusp of, you know, just before like professional and trying to get more recognized and something like that, I think that a tournament like that is kind of a stepping stone, and it's a good way to bridge the gap between trying to get women more accepted competitively. Like to show up at a tournament and say, wow, this tournament was just as exciting or even more exciting or more entertaining than the men's tournaments. Not only do you have something nice to look at, but they're also really, really competitive and really good, like just as good as the guys are. And I think that just trying to show that is a stepping stone in the right direction. As far as the what was the second part of the question? I'm missing it. Let me pull it up here.
If it implicitly suggests that women are inferior players and can only win in their own separate events.
That one's tough, right? Because, I mean, that's like a loaded question. I don't think that is what they're trying to do at all. I think it's actually the opposite. I think they're trying to show that women are just as good as the guys are, but I think that people know that, and that maybe it's coming across as the wrong thing. And I kind of wish the US would do something like this, or something like Archon. Like in the Archon League, I really wish that they made a women's team to compete, like as a sixth team, kind of like a Force and Boys. Like if they do another Archon League, I hope maybe that they would have like a team of girls to compete with against all the team of guys, or see more. I'm all about more women in tournaments, and I think that would be a good way. But I don't think that the existence of that tournament implicitly suggests that women are inferior. I don't think that at all. I think that it's actually they're trying to
showcase the female players.
They're trying to show that women are just as good by doing a women-only tournament. Which, by the invite, I was privileged to be invited, and I wish I could have gone. Some things came up that I couldn't have gone. But it is totally, from what I've seen of it, it is very, how do I put this? It's very, the production is very womanized. I don't know how to put that. It's very, like,
very feminine?
They had us pick out specific dresses that we had to wear to the event.
Oh my god, that would have been that right there would have made me so angry. I would have been like, why can't I wear my t-shirt? What is wrong with my t-shirt and jeans?
With that. Yeah, they wanted, I think it was that is where the only thing that I had a problem with from that tournament was that they wanted us to wear specific dresses and that we had to wear white dresses. So the production was very girly, where
wow,
it was very oriented towards, I think, more their culture. I'm very unfamiliar with it, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I think that, I don't know if that was more of a customs thing or whatever.
And it could have been, because you're right, like we shouldn't necessarily just full on straight up judge, but at the same time,
right. I do think
it rubs me as a North American woman. It rubs me the wrong way, being like, you must wear a dress and you must wear white. Like,
Right, but we're also different a country than they are, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're inviting me to go out and compete in front of all of their people, which is an extreme privilege. Which is amazing that they're even having a tournament and inviting players, women from the US, to showcase against women in China. Like, all right, we're going to try and take the best girls and throw them against the best girls in the West. And just to show you guys that women are actually competitive. So overall, I think that it is a really good idea. And I can see how people would take it the wrong way. And I can see what's happening, but I think that it's a stepping stone. Like, you need to be able to, like, toss an apple before you throw a boulder. That's a horrible analogy. But, you know,
I kind of get what you're
a
saying.
small thing in order for it to be a
Yeah.
big thing. And I don't think women are discouraged from playing in tournaments now. Like, if as a woman, as I do, you can sign up for a tournament and play if you want. There's no one in the US that's saying women are inferior to men. And it's just harder to get recognized and taken seriously as a woman. But I don't think that
we
anyone has
touched
ever
on that
said
last time you were on the show. We talked about basically what the kind of barriers to entry were for women who wanted to get into competitive Hearthstone, and
Yeah,
and
it's very hard
competitive
to enter.
gaming in general. And part of that was that we talked about a little bit around like harassment and stuff online and how it's kind of difficult.
Oh yeah,
to,
that's always
yeah.
going to be a problem, I think.
Yes,
though.
it is. And actually, and that's kind of, I wanted to take that kind of tangent here and just say, like, in a tournament, because I know how I've seen Twitch chat react when it doesn't matter if it's a player or if it's a commentator or a host, whenever there's a woman on screen, then it just, Twitch chat just goes bleh. So do you think that it would be worse given a tournament of all women? Or do you think it would be kind of like the first 5 minutes and they'd just be like, oh my God, all of the crazy, sexist, awful things, and then it would get old, and then we could just get back to watching people play Hearthstone?
That's tough. I think I have faith in people. I think it would be like that for the first few minutes.
You have faith in
I'd
Twitch
be
chat?
interested to see the publicity that it gets and the viewer numbers it gets. If you threw it on when Archon League was on, like the same time, but Archon League wasn't on, so Forsen and Trump were streaming, I would like to see the viewership that it gets compared to those. And I do think that it would be as tame. I think it would be a little, maybe even taken a little bit more seriously because everyone is a woman. Like, you don't freak out over just the one girl. Like, oh my God, grill,
Well, and
grill,
that's the
grill.
thing, yeah, that's
There's
what I'm
a grill
thinking.
on screen. Like, everybody's a grill. So I think
Yeah.
that it would be taken a little better. It would be interesting to see how the community reacts. But I think that it would be more accepted if it was all girls because they're not used to seeing, it wouldn't just be the one girl out of everyone who gets focused on. It would be a women tournament that gets focused on in general. So it'd be interesting to see how people react. But someone said in chat, it said that it's easier to get recognized as a woman. I think it depends on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that if you're talking about becoming professional, then I would completely disagree that it's easier to be a woman. If you're talking about just playing, just streaming or trying to get recognized on the online community, I think it's a little easier as a woman because I think that your achievements are amplified because not many, like, it's hard to explain. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Like, I think that a little bit, if you have a girl that's really, really good, because it's so rare, her achievement gets amplified. You know what I'm saying? Because not a lot of people have done that previously. But if you're talking about professional, like becoming recognized as a professional player in a game, I think it's a lot more difficult because I don't think people take you that seriously. So there's like different perspectives of what you're trying to talk about. But yeah, I think that Eloise, is it Eloise?
I think it's Eloise, yeah.
I think Eloise is doing awesome, and she's doing really well, and I have a lot of respect for her coming all the way from a different meta and competing in an American tournament. That's really difficult. It's something that I was struggling with while I was preparing to go to China. The metas are completely different. So trying to come over to another country and compete in a big tournament is really, really difficult. And I think she's handling it really well. I mean, it's also different with a whole team behind you, right? Like helping you along, one of a big Hearthstone team helping you. But coming from a different country to the United States, or going from the United States to China or to Europe or France, it's just a different meta, and it's extremely difficult to adapt. So
Yeah.
Eloise is doing really awesome.
I agree. Yeah,
Hello,
she
Louise.
is. And the thing is, I find her really entertaining. I haven't actually watched her stream on Twitch, but I love watching her in the Archon League. It's just, she has these like great reactions, and at the same time when she's actually playing, like you can see she's super, super focused. And I find her a very entertaining person to watch while she's playing the game. And like I say, I haven't actually watched her Twitch, but I have heard people call her the female Forzen, so I'm sure that it's entertaining to say the least. So yeah,
Right.
but yeah, no, she hasn't really been streaming all that long. Was she streaming prior to being a part of Tempo Storm?
No.
Yeah.
She streamed, from what I hear, I've not talked to her directly. I've just heard through people that she streamed in China, and the streams in China have, tenfold the viewership that Twitch has. So
Oh, really?
I heard that she streamed over there. That might not be true. I heard that she did stream over there, and she was brought onto Twitch from over there. So she had past streaming experience.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. And I mean, obviously English is not her first language. So I've also heard people say that given that it's not her first language, she does a very, very good job kind of interacting with a very quick Twitch chat. So yeah, I like her a lot. I'm glad. And I'm also glad to see somebody, obviously a woman who is doing so well and being, on these teams and competing in these tournaments and streaming on Twitch. It's all good. It's all good.
Right, it is. Yep, we're a supporter of that for sure.
Yeah. Do you want to take the next email from Jared?
Yeah, Jared writes in tagpodcast@gmail.com. He says, "Greetings, Cluckers and Carmi. Who or what inspired your love for gaming and to be such a visible part of the gaming community, be it competitively or socially?" Do you want to go first?
Sure. For me, it
Get 'em.
was. For me, it
Get
was. Stop it. For me, it was Scott Johnson. He is a podcaster and streamer, and he was instrumental to me getting into both podcasting and streaming. He runs the Frog Pants Network, which actually, The Angry Chicken, our audio feed goes through Frog Pants. And he has been so supportive and so amazing, and has made me want to be better in terms of giving back to the community, because he gives back so much. So for me, in terms of socially, he has been a huge influence. Competitively, I'm just a really competitive person. I always have been in everything I do. It doesn't matter if it's school or sports or games. Like, I've always just been really competitive, which is one of the things that's so frustrating for me about the ladder system right now is because I just don't have the time. I have a normal, like, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 job on top of the streaming and the podcasting. I don't necessarily have the time to climb to legend all the time. And it frustrates the crap out of me when just for the sheer volume of games that you have to play, it doesn't really matter. It feels like it doesn't matter necessarily what my skill level is. It all just comes down to the grind. So
Yeah.
when I can only play 150 games in a season, that's not enough to hit legend. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm good enough. I think I could do this, but I just don't have
sure
the
you
time.
could.
So yeah, the competitive side of me just gets rubbed the wrong way in Hearthstone. But, like, I don't know if there's any specific person that really inspired me to be competitive. It's just kind of a part of who I am. I've always been a sports person. And I think, Karma, we've talked about this before too, because you come from a
Yeah.
really similar, like, we're both like really competitive, like athletes
Yeah.
and school, like just everything. We're just like,
Yep.
compete all the things. So I'm sure you're on the same page there. But is there anyone specifically for you?
I think I don't think anyone in particular inspired me. I would say that it was more of a combination of just watching sports and just maybe my dad and my mom, the way I was raised. Basically, what inspired me, see the quote "love for gaming." I don't know if that would apply to me, just because I'm competitive. So I don't know if it's so much that I like the game or because I like the competitive aspect. Like if you're gonna tell me, all right, Karma, you're gonna sit in front of this computer and you're gonna play out some story that happens in a game with, one guy and he goes through the ups and downs of his life, and at the end you finish the story and you find out what happens. I would never, ever in a million years play that game. I would never go on a computer. I would never do any of that stuff. I would be doing something else. So, like, love for gaming, even though I play games, I don't know if that applies to me just because I'm all about competitive. Like, I have
I was gonna
blinders
say,
on
yeah,
when it
you're a
comes to
competitive gamer. You're not a story gamer.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what inspired me to be into gaming is my roots of, like, where I come from as a person. Like, I grew up and I was in every sport there is. And I was just super competitive. I wanted to be better than everybody else. And
Totally
my
get
game,
that.
huh?
I said I totally get that.
Yeah, so my game was basketball. I played everything, and I was, I was captain of my basketball team for a long time, and I was set to go to college for basketball, and I had hopes of maybe being a professional basketball player, and I was super, super focused on basketball when I was younger. And then I ended up getting sick with something that I have, and I ended up stopping to play basketball. So when I stopped playing basketball, and I got sick, and I was out of school for a year, pretty much, because of my illness, about 6 months or so. And when I was out of school, I played a game called RuneScape, which is lame. I know. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it wasn't that lame.
No
It was
judgments.
actually
No
pretty hip.
judgments.
But it is now. Now it's like, RuneScape, Dan's game. What are you doing? But I used to play competitively in that game. And that kind of took my inability to be able to continue what I loved competitively, which is basketball, right? And turned it into me still being able to be competitive, even though I was kind of sidelined. So then from that, I went on to Call of Duty, which is another super competitive game. Not so much in the esports scene anymore, but I think it was. I was too young to know what esports was then, until I was talking to a computer team called Team Caliber, which is a big team now in Call of Duty, but I didn't know then. And I was trying to be really competitive. I was trying to be like one of the top Call of Duty players. If you watch my stream in the very, very beginning, I used to stream like once a week when I was young, no camera, nothing. I would just stream Call of Duty for like a few hours, and I got like a few hundred views. That's actually how I got into streaming. And then it went from Call of Duty to Hearthstone when I got introduced to Hearthstone. So that's kind of how my like life of competitiveness stacks up. So that's how I became, competitive into games, is because it stemmed from when I was a kid. Just my personality and me wanting to be very good at something, or be the idea that I can outsmart somebody while they're trying to outsmart me, or physically outperform somebody while they're trying to do it to me. And then that just really is what, I don't know what the word is. I guess stimulates me or keeps me excited
Drives
and
you.
is really happy about what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
that's how I basically got into the competitive scene. Long story, I know. But it's the honest answer, so that's basically how I got into it.
Yeah, it's a good question, Jared. Thank you.
Yeah,
Our
thanks
next
for the question.
Yeah, our next question comes to us from Dragon Rider DK, who says, "Hello, amazing ladies. I have big dreams when it comes to Hearthstone and my life with gaming in general, but sometimes I feel I dream too big. I would love to be a pro gamer and would love to make a living doing what I love, but I don't know how. At this point, I'm not even legend, but I spend as much time as I can playing, watching streams and tournaments, and listening to podcasts. With other obligations outside of gaming, such as work and spending time with my husband, it can feel overwhelming. Do you have any suggestions for how to balance and achieve my goals while still being realistic? You both do so much for the community and are an inspiration, so please keep it up. Thanks so much." So thanks for the email, Dragon Rider. This
Thanks, Dragon.
is exactly what I struggle with. I mean, it's
Me
so
too.
difficult. Yeah, and you too, Karma?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
balancing your
Big time.
everyday life and your
Hmm?
wanting to be a pro gamer. Yeah. I don't know if there is. I don't know if there is an answer. Really and truly, if what you want to be is a pro gamer, I really feel like it's like anything else. If you want to do it, then you just have to take the plunge and do it. And usually, and I don't want to come off as I'm saying anything about your husband, but usually it needs a really, really supportive partner, somebody who's willing to say like, okay, you want to really give this whole pro gamer thing a go, then, you know, take a year off work and just do it. Like, just throw yourself into it and do it, because really that's what it's going to take. You're not going to be able to become a pro gamer if you're working, if, you know, you're taking care of your kids, or, you know, like pro gaming takes a lot of work. And it's not just becoming really, really good at the game. There's also all the networking you have to do, all the travel you have to do to all the tournaments. Like, it's a huge, huge commitment. So I'm not saying don't dream big, but kind of understand what goes into it. It's not as simple as just sitting at your computer for a couple of hours a day and learning all the decks in Hearthstone. Like, there's so much more that comes into it. And I think that's something that you struggle with sometimes too, Karma, with the balance and the networking and kind of all the stuff you have to do outside of just knowing and playing the game.
Yep. I struggle with it now a lot. This question hits home to me because of like so many similarities. I had a really big stream probably like a year ago now. Last August was when the last call tournament was, which is kind of where I get recognized as like the sunglasses girl.
Oh, the sunglasses girl. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, and my stream was bopping then. I had like 3,000 viewers per stream. I was doing really well, but I was kind of like where you were, where I had committed to school. It was around November when I was doing really well, and I had already committed to school, so I didn't have the time to stream. I didn't even realize that that was something I wanted to do in my life. I just kind of was doing it for the competitive aspect, like I was explaining earlier. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea that it would turn into something. And time commitment is 100% the most important thing, and something that I struggle with all the time is trying to balance your time, because I think the best way to get into the Hearthstone scene is streaming. And I know that sounds weird coming from my answer because I got known from a tournament, but I think that unless you win a major tournament, which is really hard to do now other than ESL, that because all of them are invite, the really big ones are just invite tournaments, that I think streaming is the best way to try and become a pro gamer, is to get big viewer numbers, which will get you invited to tournaments or get your networking started by getting your stream recognized and stuff like that. But it's definitely something I struggle with. Like my significant relationships, the only time that I can see those people are on the weekends, which is when all the tournaments are.
Yeah. So
it's something that you kind of just have to put your head down, and it's a huge commitment, especially if you're in the situation like I am, where your relationships, only time you can see them is on the weekend. And you just kind of have to do it. It's all like you have to put in tons of hours. And the sad part is sometimes it might not even work out.
Yeah.
And it's just a huge risk. And I don't think that you are dreaming too big. It's just that you have to realize that in order to achieve your dream, it takes so much time and effort that if you really want to do it, you got to just put your head down and do it and commit all that time. Mm-hmm. But it's the balance part I don't think will ever go away, because I struggle balancing all the time, and it affects you have to balance your health, you have to balance your work, you have to balance keeping your relationships in order and with your friends and your significant other and your boyfriend, stuff like that. And it's just really difficult. That's one of the I think it's the most difficult part of streaming and getting into the gaming scene in general, is trying to balance your time, because it just is such a huge time commitment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Along
really,
with
really
everything that Jocelyn said. Just to add on, it's just, yeah, it's crazy. I wouldn't give up on your dreams.
No,
if you're going to do it, though, you just have to mentally prepare yourself. Like, listen, all right, I'm going for this. Your husband will have to just accept that you're doing this. It takes crazy hours, and he has to be supportive of you. That's something Jocelyn already said. Like 100% supportive. He has to understand that you're putting your head down, that you're going to commit all this time and energy to it. But it's also hard for you, right? Jocelyn, if you're in a significant relationship, it's hard to not want to hang out. You know, you have to stay home and do a tournament instead of going out with your friends. It's just really, it's like a struggle of balance and realizing what you have to do and put your head down and get to work.
Yeah, exactly. So do you want to take the last email here?
Yep, Mr. Baggins writes in. Is it Frodo? He says, "Hi, Jocelyn and Karma. A deck built to exploit the nature of Nosdormu's effect has recently made its way onto the front page of Hearthpoon. It's called the Drunken Dragon. It's a combo deck that utilizes the animations of Youthful Brewmaster and Nosdormu's shortened turn timer to eat into the opponent's turn, causing them to basically skip their turn without having to do anything or play any cards. What are your thoughts on this deck and its mechanics / win condition? Do you see it as an unfair, immoral, or just a bit of fun, as generally it's not competitive enough to win in the latter? Thanks."
So did you actually see this?
I have not. I heard about it.
Okay.
I had it mentioned to me, yeah.
Yeah, so basically you play Nozdormu and then you just keep bouncing your 2 pandas back into your hand and you do like minimal damage, but the thing is your opponent can never react because you've already used up his 15 seconds of turn time. It's pretty ridiculous and basically shows the harm, I guess, or the problems with all of these animations. And most of the time, what we see, the animations, the issues are people missing lethal when they're playing Patron because there's so many animations, specifically on the Frothing Berserker. Like the little like lightning bolt goes off at the bottom of the card every single time it adds another tick of damage. So that eats up so much time. This is an extreme example of the animations problem, but I don't know. Karma, what do you think about animations? Like, are they really a problem? Is the fact that animations on Frothing Berserkers take so long almost a nerf of Patron anyway? Like, do you think this is something that they're going to change or that they should change to make things like this whole Drunken Dragon deck not possible?
I do like the fact of the animations competitively because it puts a time restraint on you it puts a time restraint on a time restraint, which adds to the understanding of your deck and the ability to be air quote skillful in Hearthstone, right? That's part of the skillfulness, is understanding your deck, knowing what you have to win, and being able to evaluate your turn quickly. Because you know that there's a time restraint, you have to know what's going on. I think that's just a good part of the skill game. However, this deck, I think I would not like to see this in competitive. I think maybe it could be a fun ladder deck. I would not like to play against it because you're abusing a timer, which is cool already. I think Nosdormu's awesome already, but the fact that you're making someone skip their turn, I think is just kind of... I mean, what's so fun about that? Yeah. Like, the other person isn't even playing. You're just sitting there and brewing your stuff back and hitting the guy, doming him for 8 every turn. I don't think that there's really much... I haven't seen it played, though. From what I understand, just Nosdormu sits on the board and you brewmaster.
Yes,
until
exactly. So you do have to have...
can't be brewed anymore.
Yeah, you do have to have all 3 cards, like, because you have to be able to bounce your brewmasters back into your hand. So you do require... the dragon and the 2 pandas, so it is a 3-card combo. But yeah, and it's late game too, right? Like, you know, this isn't something that you're going to be playing on turn 4. But yeah, so it takes some, I guess, time commitment. It's not necessarily the same as a hunter that wins or loses by turn 4 or 5 and you get through your games right quick, because then that would be absolutely ridiculous, right? Like, the fact that at least you have to wait a long time, it's kind of like 1 turn kill-ish, because if each turn takes 15 seconds, then it's like, it's almost like you basically don't get to interact. It's like a 1 turn kill, even though technically it's like 3 or 4 turns to kill your opponent. But yeah, I don't know. It really illustrates the problem with animations, and I'm really wondering if somebody at Blizzard, like, obviously they're paying attention, but I wonder if they're working on a solution, because we have seen a lot of talk about animations recently.
Do you like the animations? As far as what I was explaining earlier, like, I like how they're
I do.
A
I
time
absolutely
constraint
do.
on a time constraint?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think they are still a bit of a competitive, because I really do think that they're almost like a nerf of patron in and of themselves, because like you say, it makes, even though that is a really, really overpowered turn when you've got all your patrons and all of your berserkers and all of your whirlwind effects and everything else going on. Yes, it's a really powerful turn, but we've seen so many pro players, especially like in the last, mostly what I've been watching has been Team League. So in Team League, we've seen it happen, I want to say at least 3 times, if not more, where people have missed lethal and then lost the game because of the animations on the cards. And these are like top end pro players. So if even they are challenged by animations in a patron deck, then I think it definitely impacts the competitiveness of the deck.
Right. But the patron also isn't taking away your turn.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
That's why this one's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Although it
it
kind
just
of
takes away your opponents.
Yeah, and again, like it's not so much that it takes away my turn. It kind of does take away my turn, because if they can actually get everything off in time, then I'm dead, right? So I don't get to interact with it
That's true.
either way.
Then you don't get a turn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I mean, it same problem, just 2 different decks. So I don't know what we're going to see happen, but it's going to be interesting to see what this announcement on the 22nd is going to be.
Yeah, I am super excited about the announcement on the 22nd. This has me all hyped up. Like, before I was like, oh, I don't want to get my hopes up. And,
Yeah.
you know, I've been let down before with the expansions, and now I'm all jazzed up. I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait. It's going to be, you know, new legendaries, stuff like that. But, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
Can't
I'm
wait.
very, very excited. So I think actually, guys, we have gone so long tonight, but I mean, talking to Karma,
Oops.
thank you so much for coming on the show. I had such a great time. I think we had a lot of really good conversation. So just thank you again for coming and hanging out with me and answering all those listener emails. Thank you everyone for sending in your feedback and your questions. I think it was a really good show. I had a lot of fun.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was really,
I
really
love
good.
coming back. I love you guys. You're such a big part of my community,
Aw.
as well as the Hearthstone community. So I'm happy to support you. And yeah, have me back anytime. I love it. So much
Absolutely.
fun. Especially just the girls.
Oh,
It
I
was
know,
nice.
this was so much fun, right? And I totally forgot because I was so nervous off the top of the show. I didn't even tell you guys where the hell Garrett and Dills are. I think Garrett might have mentioned it last week, but Garrett is actually on vacation. He's down in Key West right now, probably
Poor
drinking
guy.
and laughing at me and my attempting to host. And then Dills is in the middle of a move. So basically they both were unable to make it tonight. So yeah, we had a little bit of a ladies' night, and I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, I would say ladies' night went pretty well.
Yeah,
Let us
I'd-
know what you guys think if you had fun.
Yes,
Let them
exactly.
know.
Tweet us, email us, do all the things, Reddit all the posts.
Do the things.
Yeah. So before we go, I just wanted to thank our epic patrons. You can become a TAC patron by going to patreon.com/TAC. Becoming a TAC patron gives you access to the TAC Skype account for the patron call-in episodes, as well as the after show video. Which we are not doing tonight, by the way, guys, because it's coming up. It's past now 1 o'clock in the morning for me. So sorry, no after show. Sorry, but you got
She's
an
going
extra
to
long
bed, guys.
episode. Got an extra long episode, so it's all good. So thanks to the patrons, we do have one extra episode a month where patrons can call in and ask questions live on the show. Last week's Hangout is now available, and the next Hangout is going to happen sometime in August. So thank you very much to Taryn G, Kevin H, Sparky Shocker, Marshall G, and Elizabeth for your patronage. Also wanted to give a shout out to the Canadian iTunes store, which we haven't done in a while. All of your 5-star iTunes reviews really help the show because they bump us up in the standings, they make us more visible, so they bring in more listeners. So the more you can leave us reviews on iTunes, the more we appreciate it. So these are our Canadian iTunes reviews from iPsycho, Yantel, PEJ Tremblay, Captain Yule, and Tweep213. So thank you guys so much for leaving your 5-star reviews in the iTunes store. The Angry Chicken is a production of A-Move TV and the Frogpan Studios. Our past live shows and other videos can be found on youtube.com/StarcastShow. You can get the Angry Chicken t-shirt over on slashloot.com. Don't forget to go over and follow the show on Twitter. We are at TAC Podcast. If you'd like to catch the live show on Monday nights, you can do so at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv. The mobile live stream is provided by Alpha Geek Radio. I'd like to give some thanks out to Brian Griffith, the musician responsible for our intro music. He can be found at briangriffithmusic.com or at Brian Griffith on Twitter. So Karma, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you if they want to get in touch or find your stream?
My stream is a little bit complicated of a name, but it's twitch.tv/karma, AAH at the end. So it's KARMAAH because of the Boston accent, and karma was taken. So it's, twitch.tv/KARMAAH. And you can also follow me on Twitter. I tweet there when I go live, and that's at Karma TV. Another complicated one, it's KARMAH TV. And I wish I could sync them all, but they've all been taken.
Aww.
So I'm working on trying to find a name that I can sync. But yeah, so it's at Karma TV. And you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Karma the Sniper. But mainly, Twitter and Twitch is the way to get at me because I post everything there. So if you follow me on Twitter, I post there when I go live, so you can just find the stream from there. You can find my YouTube from there. I post YouTube videos on my Twitter as well. And Twitch will link you to everything if you would like to find more about me.
Fantastic. And again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I had such a great time. I think we had a really solid episode. So thank you so much, Karma.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. Dills and Garrett, thank you for letting me come on. And Jocelyn, thank you so much for dealing with me during the show and inviting me on. It was awesome.
Yeah, you're so hard to deal with, Karma. Oh my God.
I know. I must be difficult.
Yeah.
Me and my opinions.
At least I don't think you said, does that make sense, even one time tonight. You totally ruined my drinking game.
I made it as a point to not say that after last time. I think I said it enough for the next time I'm on the show, if that happens as well. I must have said it like 10 times.
Yeah, I think you did.
I did use the word like a lot, though. I gotta work on that. I'm trying to work on my speech. It's very hard.
You did a really, really great job tonight.
Or like, or...
Yep. It's tough. I do it all the time, and I talk twice a week, so come on. It's fine.
So difficult, isn't it?
Yep.
My dad's like, was watching one of my videos because I forced him to, and he's saying, you say and way too much, and I'm watching it, and I was just appalled at how much I said it. So I'm trying to fix it.
I had somebody
so
tweet at me the
difficult.
other day and say, I watched The Gamers Inn and Jocelyn said like 16 times in about 4 minutes. And I was like, oh man. He's like, she wasn't even comparing anything to anything. It's like, oh.
I wonder how many likes appeared on this show. I said it a lot. I already know I did. Ugh.
It's fine. You did fantastically well. So if you guys want to follow the guys, you can follow Dills over on Twitter at Willie Dills. His Twitch stream is Willie Dills SF, and he streams. He's right in the middle of a move right now, so I don't think he's been streaming as much, but you can usually catch him on the weekends. He also does The Instance, which is a World of Warcraft podcast, and he does Torturecast, which is about and by fans of the San Francisco Giants. You can find Garrett at Garrett Art. If you'd like to look at his stream designs, which he designed both our Angry Chicken overlay and my personal Twitch stream overlay. If you'd like to check those out, you can go to nomoonart.com. Garrett also does Into the Nexus, which is a Heroes of the Storm podcast that is on Thursday nights, although he's on vacation, so there isn't an episode this week. If you'd like to find me, you can follow me on Twitter at GISGamer. I also do The Gamers Inn every Wednesday night right here on AMove TV. My Twitch channel is the same as my Twitter, and I try to stream Monday through Friday, so come and check me out. Also, don't forget to check out our sponsors, Doghouse Systems. If you use our code TAC, it will give you a free 120 gig SSD to add to your already amazing Doghouse gaming PC.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's amazing. SSD, 120 gigs. That
Just for
so
using the
awesome.
code, yep.
That is a sweet code. I'm gonna have to check that out. SSDs are so amazing. Have you had one yet?
Yeah, I have a Doghouse with an SSD in it. It's fantastic.
Oh, they are fantastic.
Yeah,
and a
it's so
free
good.
one? Woo!
Yep. All right, so that does it for us tonight. So, job's done.
All right. High five, Joss.
Woo!
Bam. To the camera. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to end the recording. I think I paused the recording. That's fine too.
Just as good. Just as good.
I'm like, I'm so worried about hitting the stop button because I'm just like, what happens if I hit stop and then it doesn't save and then I just lost all of the awesome karma?
Chalk that down as a win. The pause is just as good.
All right, so I'm going to kill the stream now, guys, because apparently now I have to post the show and it's 1 a.m. What? But yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out, everybody. I had a great time.
Me as well. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Make sure to listen to Angry Chicken.
You do know that they're listening to Angry Chicken if they just heard you say that, right?
Yes. Follow them everywhere. Do the things.
Do all the things.